Hey everyone, I'm back with another Blu-ray haul video. It's been a while since I've made a video in general. Life has been busy, and also the audio port on my camera broke, so I had to get that fixed. I've got a bit of time to record a Blu-ray haul. Some of these go back as far as I think the end of July into August, and then some September pickups that I've made. So I hope you enjoy this video. One thing I wanted to mention before I actually got stuck into showcasing some of these films for you is that I actually returned to going to the theatre for the first time since, was it February 2020? So it's been approximately 19 months or so. Yeah, 19 months since I've actually been to see a film on the big screen. And then the last film I saw was Parasite. But last night, as of recording this video, I managed to get tickets to go see a 4K restoration screening of Park Chan-wook's Oldboy. I've seen the film many times before. I'm a huge fan of Park Chan-wook in general, but this was such a special sort of reintroduction to going to the theatre and seeing a film on big screen and having an audience there, and I absolutely loved it. I went with my best friend who hadn't seen the film before and wasn't aware of many of the plot points of the film, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, so it was fun to also watch the film with someone who'd never seen it before. So that was a great experience, and I look forward to going to the theatre more in the future, and I'm glad that things are sort of turning back to some sort of normalcy. So I thought I'd mention that as it was like a highlight of my week and my film watching sort of journey at the minute. So speaking of film journeys, the first thing I have to show you here is a documentary series that I recently mentioned on my latest podcast episode, Let's Watch 2, which had a guest host of Nathan Jones, a good friend of mine, and I inspired him to pick this up himself. I think he covered it in a recent Blu-ray haul on his channel, and I'm talking about Mark Cousins' The Story of Film. This is incredible filmmaking from Mark Cousins. I hadn't seen anything from Mark Cousins before. It's been brought to my attention that he created a documentary about women in film, and I learned through this documentary at the beginning that a lot of early pioneers and like script writers and camera work was done by women, and then it wasn't until like film was deemed a sort of lucrative business that basically men sort of jumped in and basically kicked all the women out of the positions that they were sort of honing their skills in, which is really sad. But yeah, this, as the title suggests, is the story of film, an odyssey, and it's approximately 915 minutes long, quite a marathon, but I think I've only got a few episodes left, so this is broken up into hour segments, covering various different stages of cinema, from literally the beginning of when the camera was like first invented and things like that, from the Lumiere brothers all the way up until present day. And it's just so illuminating and educational, but also it's not dry at all. It's always very engaging, and it has like clips from various different films, and it goes through different genres and things like that. Highlight is in an earlier episode, it tackles like film noir and why film noir like style was so prominent because of like post-war, depression and things like that. And yeah, this is fantastic. This is from a company called Network out of the UK. It does come with a really nice slipcover, but I have touched the front way too much and it now has fingerprints all over it. I'm not too bothered about that. I didn't buy for the slipcover. I didn't even expect one to come with it, to be honest. But if you do buy this, be careful that you don't get too many fingerprints over the front, because they don't come off. If you're interested, as well worth picking up. And yeah, it's been a highlight for me so far this year in terms of like documentary and filmmaking in general, even though this came out in 2011, but this is the first like Blu-ray debut of this, and it's amazing. From one box set to another, I managed to pick up this superb Bong Joon Ho box set from Artificial Eye. I absolutely love the design on this. So as you can see, it comes with Barking Dogs Never Bite, Memories of Murder, The Host, Mother, Snowpiercer, Parasite, and then the Parasite Black and White edition. So I think it's missing to my knowledge, Just Okja, which I think is like is a Netflix film that Bong Joon Ho directed. So I don't know whether they artificial I could have got the license for that to put it in this set, but it's a pretty comprehensive set of Bong Joon Ho's work. Bong Joon Ho has come into prominence because of the success of his Oscar and Palme d'Or winning film Parasite, which is incredible. But before that even came out, he had a very successful career within genre filmmaking, and tackles various different themes, particularly to do with like social issues, which is very rife in South Korea and across the world. But there's a lot of influence from the West on Eastern society, which I find really interesting. And yeah, I have seen most of these films apart from the one that I was really desperate to see, which is Memories of Murder. And I've not seen the Parasite black and white edition. I do think that's a little unnecessary, as I think colour is quite important in some respects for like symbolism, and it's just a gorgeous film to look at. I may check it out one day for curiosity reasons. But yeah, Memories of Murder recently got a Criterion edition release, which I really wanted to pick up. But this box set, when I got it in the sale, cost about the same price as the Criterion disc just for Memories of Murder. So I thought I'd pick up all of Bong Joon Ho's films just for the price of that one disc. And this is a gorgeous box set, so I'm very, very happy to have this in the collection. Next up is a 4K release of a film that I was curious to watch, mainly because this director is my favourite director ever. Just by saying that, if you've been watching the channel a while, you may know who that is. I'm talking about David Lynch and the Arrow release of Dune. This is getting a reimagining from Denis Villeneuve, coming out in October, starring a whole host of very famous and talented actors. And Denis Villeneuve is one of my favourite contemporary directors, I think. He's done some amazing stuff. And yeah, this is a fantastic package from Arrow. And yeah, I know that David Lynch himself has sort of disowned this because he didn't get a final cut and there was a lot of studio interference, and he's just basically not happy with the final product, which is sad because David Lynch is usually very proud of his work and generally gets final cut on everything, especially in his later part of his career. This film is okay. Yeah, I can see why Lynch has disowned it. Basically, it definitely has some interesting aspects to it. It's not to say that this film is a complete failure, but it just doesn't hit the mark. And I'm really interested to see what Denis Villeneuve does with Dune. What made this set is what made it, because I'm not a huge fan of what the film itself. I love Lynch so much, so I'll probably never get rid of this because I just want to have all of his films. And who knows, maybe one day I'll revisit this and something will click with me. But yeah, it's all the special features and stuff on here. It's just incredible. Yeah, famously, David Lynch doesn't like to talk about any of his films anyway. Really, he doesn't like to divulge like information about what his films mean or interpretations or anything like that. And particularly a film in which he has disowned, basically, you're not really going to get anything from the director, no audio commentaries or anything like that. But yeah, the booklet in here is amazing, lots of information. It's just an interesting part of David Lynch's career, and I'm glad to have it, although the film wasn't amazing. But the 4K transfer looks amazing. I can't compare it to anything else because I haven't seen a Blu-ray release of this film, but I have no complaints with how the film looks. It looked crisp, sort of the color ratios and everything just looks superb to me. So this is the last box set, and I got this actually a while back, but I don't think I put it in my last Blu-ray haul. If I did, I do apologize if I'm showing this twice, but I've since watched the film. So this is directed by Rob Savage, and this is the second sight release of Host. This is a really effective sort of found footage, sort of horror thriller type thing, filmed during the pandemic. So the whole film is sort of a recording of a Zoom call that a bunch of friends have, and in typical horror fashion, all the friends in this video call have a seance, and things happen, and it's very effective, and I really enjoyed this, and it's so short. How long is this film? It's 57 minutes, so yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome, but also 57 minutes felt appropriate for the film. There's no fat on this film whatsoever. Characters are introduced, you get a bit of banter, so you know what the relationships are between the characters. A seance happens, and then the film goes crazy, and it's just wonderfully put together, great editing. The performances are really good considering people are just acting into a webcam for pretty much the majority of the film. And again, the special features are really interesting. Lots of there's a commentary which I haven't listened to, but I'm sure that'll be quite illuminating. And then behind the scenes feature. The film was sort of born from a prank that the director made on some people, in which he sort of faked some supernatural things while on a Zoom call, and then from that sort of had the idea to make this film. And yeah, it's really good. I can see myself revisiting this one, especially with it being 57 minutes long. Second Sight, just, yeah, very closely my favorite boutique Blu-ray label. It's particularly for packaging and special edition of films. They've got so many things coming out in the future. They're going to cost me an arm and a leg to order because I want them all. But yeah, Host is definitely one to pick up from their line. So the next few pickups are Criterion releases that I got from the Barnes & Noble sale back in July time. The first one is by Pedro Almodovar, and that's All About My Mother. I got this because I know Chris Moen has talked a lot about this director. He's a big fan, and also just I've read a lot about people who think that this director is absolutely amazing, and this was in the sale and I thought I'd give this a shot. So hopefully this is really good. I'm sure it will be. And then I also got another Claire Denis film. I mentioned in some videos and on my podcast as well that one of the best films that I've discovered this year is Claire Denis' Beau Travail. Incredible film. Please go and watch Beau Travail. But I wanted to basically fill out my Claire Denis collection of films and just watching all of her filmography because I'm fascinated by her now. And this one is from 2017, starring the always amazing Juliette Binoche, and it's Let the Sunshine In. I think this is more of a light-hearted sort of romantic type film, which strikes me as something very different for Claire Denis, but it's in the Criterion collection, so I'm very excited to watch that one. My next pickup, I'm really pleased, got an announcement. For months I was holding back on ordering the Arrow Films version of this release, which I've heard is very good. But I knew that there was rumours that this was going to get a release from Criterion. I'm talking about Misaki Kobayashi's The Human Condition. So this is a trilogy of films by the Japanese master that is Kobayashi, very famous director who did Harikiri, which is one of the greatest films of all time. And I've been wanting to watch this for some time. This is going to be one that I will be watched over a period of time because the 3 films are all approximately like 3 hours long. It's a 474-minute film, filmed between 1959, well, released between 1959 and 1961. And yeah, it's regarded as amongst the finest works of cinema. I know that all 3 films are really highly rated on Letterboxd, like all 3 of them are within the top 25 or something like that. I may be mistaken, but I know they're all really highly regarded amongst film fans that have seen them, and I'm excited to delve into this over a period of time, I imagine. But yeah, really excited for that one. And then lastly is a film I've seen before, and I've also watched this disc, directed by Amy Heckerling, and it's Good Times at Ridgemont High. This is one that I haven't seen since I was a young teenager, and it was very different seeing it through adult eyes. I've grown up and had a lot of life experience since then, And I definitely enjoyed it more on this viewing. It's very fun to reminisce about being a teenager, although I can relate, but also the time period I can't relate, because this came out in '82. Just being a teenager and going to school and just all the antics and just navigating, you know, coming of age, growing up, things like that. Very, very fun. Really fantastic early performance by Sean Penn in here. And yeah, I think this is great. Screenplay's by Cameron Crowe, and he actually based the screenplay on his own experiences going undercover, going to a school in California somewhere. So that's really, really interesting. And Cameron Crowe's made some great films in his career as well as a director. So this was really, really good to revisit. I know that some people have issue with the Criterion version of this transfer. It's a 4K digital transfer, but some of the color grading is different from previous releases, and some people aren't a fan of it. This film, I haven't seen this film in so long, I can't remember what the color grading looked like. So for me, this was almost like seeing it for the first time, even though I remember some of the scenes, but I can't remember what the film really looked like in terms of its style. So for me, this film looks great, so I have no complaints, and yeah, it's really good. And the last 4 picks are all horror-based pickups. We're quickly approaching spooky season. Definitely in the mood for more horror-related stuff. I've been actually watching a lot of horror-based content on YouTube recently, which I've been really enjoying. Finding a lot of new channels that focus just on horror. It's really good to find channels that are one specific genre of film, like horror or action films, or just exploitation films. Or I wish there was a film noir YouTube channel. If there is one and you know of it, please leave a link or a comment below to let me know, because yeah, it's just getting the expertise from individuals who have an absolute passion for that subject. I mean, I love cinema in general, and I love various different types of films within all genres, but I wouldn't say I have a particular favorite genre. I mean, horror is probably closely my favorite genre, but anyway, I'm rambling here. All I'm saying is that I'm really enjoying horror, like the lead up to horror season, and yeah, so these are a few pickups that I've made recently. I managed to source a extended, I think this is unrated as well, cut of the reimagining or remake of The Evil Dead. I think this is actually technically a sequel. This is a Danish release, and yeah, this is like an uncut version, and this film is hugely underrated. I think in general, not just in the horror genre, but in filmmaking in general, this is a really great modern horror film, and I actually prefer this to the original Evil Dead. It's not better than Evil Dead 2, but I just prefer this one. It's probably one of my favorite sort of remakes or reimaginings there is, particularly in the horror genre, and I love this film. It's fantastic, very, very gruesome. So if you're a bit gore shy, do not watch this film. Next film is a Lucio Fulci film, and one that I picked up because I want to see everything that Lucio Fulci's made, particularly sort of post like his 70s stuff onwards. I know there's a lot of like comedies and stuff that he made in like the early 60s and stuff that is like pretty impossible to get hold of. But yeah, all of his genre fare basically I'm interested in seeing, and this is from Scorpion releasing, but sort of put out by Kino Lorber, and it's Murder Rock. So I think this film is about a sort of competitive dance studio in which all the dancers are sort of vying for like a part in a production, and these people start to be killed off one by one and whittling down to who's going to be the winner. But I think the people that are told no, you're not good enough, are basically murdered instead of told go home, you're rubbish. So Lucio Fulci is just an absolute genius in my opinion. Superb genre filmmaker from Italy, and yeah, he's made quite a breadth of different films. He's made spaghetti westerns, he's made like splatter zombie type films, he's made supernatural films, he's made period pieces, and this is meant to be a music thriller nightmare type film. So yeah, we'll see what this is like. And last but not least is a film I've been wanting to see for the longest time, but this doesn't have a UK Blu-ray release as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but this is from Scream Factory. This is The Slumber Party Massacre, directed by Amy Jones. This film is smarter than I've ever thought it could be, to be honest. It's very much a self-aware slasher film. This came out in 82. Yeah, 1982. It's very short. It's 77 minutes, so it's a very quick-paced and lean film. And yeah, it's not a subtle film in terms of its symbolism, but the dialogue and the way it's put together is very smart, particularly for the slasher genre, which is a genre I do enjoy quite a lot. The music in this film is great. It has some fantastic one-liners that I'm pretty sure are on purposely bad, knowingly, tongue-in-cheek. So this film was written by Rita Mae Brown, who is a feminist writer. So that will give you some indication regarding how smart and subversive this slasher film is. I absolutely loved it. I don't have too many Scream Factory releases, but the ones I do have, I really enjoy, and I wish that they would ship internationally, because these are quite hard to get hold of. You usually have to buy them on eBay and import them, or sometimes like UK sellers have them, but they're usually marked up. But I managed to get this for like £12, so I'm super pumped to have got that at that price. So really enjoyed Slumber Party Massacre. So that was my haul for the last 2 months or so. Let me know if you picked up any of these and what you thought of them, and yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know what you've been watching recently, and yeah, until next time everyone, take care.